Okay, this video blog is a response to today's class. I actually really enjoyed today's class. I had never really read into or experienced what a Waldorf school is like, so I thought that this field trip was really beneficial. Um, just like a really great learning opportunity to see what exactly that type of schooling looks like. But it raised sort of a lot of questions. Um, but first, before I go into my questions, I think the whole community schooling approach is really interesting, and I think it can be really beneficial for the community. I really enjoyed the Burroughs reading, and I thought that it was really nice to see that this was really a bottom up approach to reform. So they were still abiding by, the Burroughs School was still abiding by testing requirements and whatnot, but they sort of, and standards, but they were led by such a strong principle that they were able to look at what the immediate community needs and what would be beneficial for them. And they were able to cater the immediate community's needs to, they were able to cater the school to benefit the immediate community's needs. I think also something to recognize is that the Burroughs School is in an area that is experiencing gentrification, which is happening sort of all over these urban areas. And so instead of pushing these families out, the Burroughs School and the community school approach and the practices that they implement, in a sense, was helping shift that socioeconomic group into maybe a higher group, keep them moving up as this area is being gentrified. So they're not kicking these families out, they're finding ways to help the families adjust to the changes in the neighborhood, which I think was really awesome. I would really love to experience or go observe that type of schooling and talk with those teachers that are involved with that. But since the only community school in this area is Mountain Song, I still think today's field trip was really beneficial just to get a sense of the Waldorf community. And this still was a pretty bottom-up approach because it was taking into account the parents' needs and sort of what the parents want. So they're responding to the requests of parents and like increasing parent involvement or requiring parent involvement, so kind of encouraging parents to take control of what's going on in their students' classroom. So still a pretty big bottom-up approach. The only questions that I had were sort of in regards to the developmental process of these students. I don't know, I think it's really great to look at the student as a whole and a holistic being and take into account the social, spiritual, and emotional needs of the student besides just the academics. But I also think that there comes a point where there's a crucial time in the student's development where if they haven't learned specific skills, if that's not addressed, then they're really going to lose. They're really not going to be able to develop those specific skills. So I think I would like to see how, in the long run, kind of an overall comparison of students that go to a Waldorf school versus students that don't and sort of their achievement. I know that they mentioned that their achievement spikes later on, but I just sort of would like to really see those numbers and understand that comparison in terms of achievement, because I don't really know if I entirely buy that letting the students come to these developmental stages on their own is the best way to go. I think there should be slightly more structure involved. I also would like to see how many kids eventually get tracked for special ed from a Waldorf school. Um, just because I don't know, I really think that earlier implementation or addressing of those needs is really necessary. If you're noticing patterns like a fourth grade girl not being able to write twos correctly, I think that's when you need to stop and really address that. So yeah, a lot of thoughts. It was a really good field trip. I think that the whole class really got a lot out of it, and I enjoyed it a lot.